Good afternoon and welcome to the Tennessee State School Bond Authority meeting for April 26, 2023. I will call the meeting to order and will note that we have a physical quorum present. I'll also note that today David Miller is here serving as a proxy for President Randy Boyd, and Angela Scott is here to serve as proxy for Chancellor Laura Tidings. The first item on our agenda today is consideration and approval of the minutes from the March 27th, 2023 meeting. Members, I hope you took time to review those minutes in the packet provided before the meeting. Unless there's any questions or discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Have a motion properly seconded. Any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Next on our agenda today, we have consideration and approval of a resolution to approve the borrowing of money by another method for the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, the Lake Moore Station project. We have Austin Oakes here to present. Austin, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, members of the Bond Authority. The University of Tennessee has one request for your consideration today. Our request is on page 5 of your packet and is for the borrowing of approval of borrowing by another method in the form of a lease in Knoxville, where we would enter into an agreement with Lake Moore Station LLC for apartments in Knoxville. This lease will provide for 96 one-bedroom units, 108 two-bedroom units, and 36 three-bedroom units for a total of 516 beds of student housing facilities. The lease term is for 5 years, beginning August 1st of this year and going through July 31st of 2028, with a 3-year option to extend. Estimated annual cost is $6,785,252. We ask for your approval and are happy to respond to any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for the explanation. Do we have a motion and second on the item?
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. What about questions or discussions on the item? Commissioner?
Thank you. Austin, this is a 5-year lease I see for student housing, right?
Yes, sir.
We had just the other day, you presented about the public-private partnership to build some dorms. Can you just talk about how these two things come together or if they're related at all?
Absolutely. So the proposal in front of you today is a critical part of UT's preparations for the public-private partnership housing comes online. In May, you as members of the Building Commission will be hearing a request from UT to award to the best evaluated proposer for the public-private partnership. And then you'll see us again in the June meeting requesting approval of a pre-development agreement with that development partner. So we're actively moving forward in that process. Given when we anticipate those beds will come online, this additional housing, 500 beds here, will allow us to meet student needs while we're designing, planning, and building that project. And once those are online, this lease would continue to be in effect, helping us serve some of our graduate students for a couple of years as we begin additional plans for subsequent housing.
Follow up if you don't mind. Do you anticipate exercising the 3-year option then?
We anticipate that's a possibility. That hasn't been decided at this point in time, but we certainly see a possibility of using that.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? If not, seeing none, all those in favor of the item as described, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have consideration and approval of a resolution to approve the borrowing of money by another method for the University of Memphis, this time for the Leftwich Tennis Center lease. On my list, we have Raj. Raj Kurapati, are you online with us today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Comptroller. Yes, sir, I am. I'm accompanied by Tony Poteet, our Chief Planning Officer, sir.
Yes, well, thank you very much for joining us. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller, members of the TSSBA board. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. In front of you for your consideration, if so inclined approval, is a request to enter into a partnership with the City of Memphis to lease the tennis facility, the Leftwich Tennis Facility, with a prepayment of $7.5 million for a period of 30 years. And that would be at an annual cost of $300,000 a year. This is a really unique partnership with the city of Memphis, where we're getting access to our tennis for our tennis program for a facility that at a total cost of $30 million, Class A facility that will allow us to have access to all the courts for practice, for tournaments and other activities related to our tennis program, including access to facilities for lockers and offices for our tennis staff and of course our athletes as well. This will go for 30 years and effectively is a prepayment at a cost of $7.5 million. With your approval, this will be sourced from our auxiliary reserves, and we have set aside funds to be able to do this over a period of several years now. I will stop there, Mr. Comptroller. I'm happy to entertain any questions and address any concerns.
Thank you very much. I do have a couple questions. Get to those. Do we have a motion and second? I'll make a motion. I have a motion properly seconded. Raj, one clarification, I think. I think in your verbal description, you mentioned a 30-year period. We have in the lease document 25 years.
That is an error on my part, Mr. Comptroller. It is 25 years at $300,000 a year for a total cost of $7.5 million. Thank you for correcting that for me.
Thank you. We'll note that for the record. Members, what about further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the item described and clarified, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Members, that brings us to the end of the School Bond Authority agenda today. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll move to adjourn. We have a motion, second, non-debatable, in favor of adjournment. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.